Hello and welcome to the Crag Centre here in Edinburgh. My name is Rory Anton and I'm delighted to be joined today by Rona Lightbody. For those of you who don't know Rona, she is currently signed with the Lady Rocks in SBC Senior Women's National League and is a part of the female strategy group. Rona, it's an absolute pleasure to have you here with us today. Really looking forward to having you along for this one.
Thanks for that, Rory. And I think I can speak on behalf of most of the Scottish basketball community. And I say you've been doing a great job with the commentary so far. So here's hoping I can add a little something to it today.
Thanks, Rona. I really appreciate that. Today's matchup is set to be an absolutely great one. It's been a long week for Pride fans after a nail-biter in the fourth quarter win over Newcastle Eagles. The Oakland Wolves come into this one, however, having played 4 games in 12 days. They also suffered back-to-back defeats to Leicester Riders in Cup and Championship action. And so the Hertfordshire side have added the services of GB guard Melita Emmanuel Carr, but she has not travelled for this fixture, so the Oakland's fans will have to wait to see her in action. We do, however, have the team news for you today. Caledonia Pride will start with Maud Ranger, Shan Phillips, Rose Harvey, Ella Docherty, and Pollyanna Story. And meanwhile, the travelling Oakland's Wolves will start with a Mary Carter at guard, joined by Dorka Boris, Beth Sarson, Lauren Milligan, and Louise Rouse. And so Oakland, as I mentioned, coming into this one, they had a 10-point defeat to Leicester Riders, who are obviously at the top of the WBBL Championship table. So a close one there. They have, however, not been able to get that all-elusive first win on the championship table. And Caledonia Pride, of course, with that win last week over Newcastle Eagles, extended to 2 wins, and they'll look to extend to 3 today. Shan Phillips comes into this one off of an amazing game last week. 28 points, 23 rebounds. She went 91.7% from the free throw line and made the All-Star WBBL Team of the Week. It'll be an interesting matchup for Shan today, and we'll see whether she will line up against the American guard Amari Carter, or whether the matchup will be left to the hands of Maud Ranger, whose defense in the fourth quarter really came through for Caledonia Pride to extend to victory. Of course, Pride, again, coached by Donnie McDonald, Bart Sengers, and John Day today. They struggled with foul trouble last week, but the coaches managed to maneuver that one and pull out and get the victory in the end. We're just a short few moments away from tip, so we'll take a slight pause, and we look forward to bringing you today's WBBL Championship action. And so as the teams make their way to the floor, just to bring you an update from other action around the league today, Nottingham Wildcats suffered a loss to Barking Abbey London Lions 79-61, and that will put them on level wins for the season. And so Caledonia Pride, as we mentioned earlier, looking to get that third win. That would move them up the table ever so slightly, and they'll be waiting to see the result of the Essex-Durham game, which is currently going to be in action alongside this one. And so Shan Phillips lines up alongside Louise Rouse for our opening tip. We look forward to bringing you today's WBBL Championship game between Caledonia Pride and Oakland's Wolves. And the team's taking the knee there in support of social injustices across our community. And we're underway here. The opening tip goes to Oakland's, and Boros will bring us over the timeline to start the action. She's guarded by Maud Rangier. Carter guarded by Rose Harvey, and she manages to find the spinning Beth Sarson, and the ball will stay with Oakland's. And bounded in the far corner by Oakland's, puts up the 3. Ella Docherty can't tie up the rebound, and an open basket for Oakland's to start the scoring. Turnover in transition. Rangier just couldn't get a hold of it. And so that one's waved off. It's going to be a travelling violation on the Wolves. Number 8, Beth Sarson. And Ella Docherty comes back in. Comes back into this one after the short break. Yeah. And finally, Pride get some points on the board, and they'll look to slow down Oakland's, bring the ball over the halfway. It's in Sarson's hands. And so Rangier with the matchup on Carter. Carter, the guard out of University of Arizona. Can't get that one to go. The Wolves come up with it. Rona, it looks like the Wolves are looking to go inside early. What do you make of those matchups for Caledonia Pride on the defensive end of the ball?
I think Pride will just get themselves into the game and sort of settle themselves in. I don't think the matchups are any more than they can handle. I think they just need to attack the boards maybe a little bit, and that defensive end, get them secured and just sort of settle the nerves a bit.
Yeah, as you say, a young Pride side. It's all about finding their footing early in these games and trying to get the pace of the game. Pride like to set the tone with pushing the ball. We know that, and I think that'll work in their favour with a short-handed Wolves side travelling up to Edinburgh today. So Sarson kicks out to Milligan, finds Carter deep for the 3, can't get it to go, and Story comes up with the ball. And there's that Pride transition, finds Harvey on the strong side, can't get it to go. She thought the contact was coming there a little bit and just couldn't square up in time. The pace of this one, it's getting away from it a bit, and Sian Phillips under the basket, fouled by Carter, and she'll go to the line. Sian Phillips last week was some game, Rona. What did you make of that one?
I think that stat line, every time I looked, it was just going up and up and up. And it was one of those things, it was like, what couldn't she do? You know, she was getting in, she was scoring, she was hustling the ball, she was finding her teammates, she was attacking the boards. It was just a phenomenal all-round performance, and it looks like she's starting today. She means to go on.
Yeah, definitely. Sian Phillips, only 34 points from a total 500 career points for the Pride, 5 steals from 100 and 6 blocks from 50 for the young Scotsman, as she goes 1 for 2.
I think that's stats anybody would take.
Yeah, I think I had to double check myself last week at the end of the game with the 23 rebounds. That's a fantastic effort from Sian, and a well-deserved call-up to the first team, the All-Star team last week. So Rouse driving on Story. Good defense from Story. Stay straight up, and she'll force it into the last of the shot clock for the Wolves.
Polly's good at that, just keeping herself upright, not getting dragged into anything, taking the contact. Yeah,
as you said, Pollyanna Story, you know, GB youth level player, and she'll look to extend that into the senior squads. Still very young, and a lot of talent in this Pride side. Milligan comes up with a board. Ranger getting her hand to it. Ranger in the fourth quarter last week got 2 really big steals, and I was talking through them last week, and I called them as blocks, but they were almost, she stole the ball as the player was trying to get into their shooting rhythm. It was just phenomenal. And a backcourt 8 seconds called, and so that will be Pride possession just over the half.
That's something they do so well, turning on that intensity, turning the ball over early on in the game.
Story backing down on the smaller, I believe, Milligan down there. She can't get it to go in there. Sham Phillips pops up with a board. Ella Docherty puts up the shot. Can't get it to go. And Wolves coming down with it. Just feel like Wolves are taking very early shots in the shot clock, unless they go inside, they're trying to, bring the ball up the floor early and try and find that open shooter. It's something they're known for in this league, for finding that open shooter in transition.
Yep.
Milligan driving on Falou, who's in the game for the first time tonight. And that shot goes for Milligan. So the Wolves will extend their lead out to 3.
Oh, what a shot. Wonder if she called back.
That's going to be that is going to be a chance at a 4-point play, I believe, for Maud Ranger. She gets the 3 to go in off the bank. Who said banks were closed on a Sunday, right?
True story. No, she's really impressed me since she's come into the team, like you said, to come up with those steals / blocks at that tight point in the game, to have the confidence to have your defense attacking like that. It's just great effort from her, great hustle. She's starting bright again.
She really struggled. Yeah, exactly. She struggled early to get her shot off, and Maud can really pull it from behind the arc, and she struggled early, but you saw her, she was commanding in team huddles, kept the girls together, and I think that really came up big for them in the fourth quarter. They showed their togetherness to get that win last week. Mayela Falou is guarding Sarson as she brings the ball over the halfway. Pollyanna Story guarding Rouse on the 3-point line. Great job, and they look to double team off the screen, which leaves Milligan with the drive, but she can't get it to go on Story, who again playing that good straight up defense, and Ella Docherty with the finish. Yeah, great take. She goes over the defender and really leaves them with no room but to either foul or give up the easy 2.
Lovely pass. Nice
coming off the double screen there, and Carter dives to the basket off of the first screen. Sham Phillips underneath the basket, but bounce pass from Docherty is picked off, and Carter driving on Story. And it's going to be a foul. Foul on Mayela Falou. And I think the key to this game, Rona, me and you were chatting before this one, it's going to be foul trouble for both teams. Obviously, the Wolves with a kind of limited bench today, only 3 on the bench. And then Pride, foul trouble was kind of the story of the game last week. They managed to manipulate it and manage it well. And so that'll be something to keep an eye on here early in this one. Rouse gets the 2 to go underneath the basket. And I know that's a key matchup for Coach Donnie McDonald and the staff. They were having seen Rouse play well in the last few games. She comes into this one averaging 10 points and 8 rebounds. And so that'll be a matchup they'll watch closely.
I think she's a young player as well, isn't she, coming up, and that'll be an interesting matchup because it can't be too often Pride players, are coming up against people of their age or even a little bit younger. So see how that goes.
Yeah, definitely, and this Wolves side with that addition of Melita Carr, you have to think that'll add the experience to, as you say, quite a young side, especially as they go deeper into the bench. It'll be interesting to see how she fares in this Oakland's team. So Milligan gets the first to go. And the offensive board, finally Shan Phillips comes up with, I don't know if we'll call that a rebound or a steal. We'll leave that to the stat man on the side, but she comes up with it, finds Tweedy, who's into the game. And now Myella Falou slows it down for the Pride. Myella picks up her dribble, finds Ranger with a step back, gets the long two to go. Carter goes behind the back, spinning. She was losing her footing there. I think she was looking for the foul to be called on that one, but nothing. And so it'll be a Pride ball. Amari Carter, I was looking at the stat line for her this year. She's yet to have a game in single digits for points. That's some going for a team if you know you're getting that output from your starting guard.
Yeah, she looks confident in the ball. You know, she drives well. She can get her shot off. Makes her difficult to guard.
Yeah, and she's quite happy to give the ball up early in the offense, and then look to get it back off of, whether that's off of a screen, or really she loves to fake and try and get back door, which we've seen her dive off of the screen and get an easy two already today. As Upris, the Estonian international, can't get the long range two to go. Myella Falou really controlling the pace of this Caledonia Pride offense early in this first quarter. Shan Phillips backing down on Lauren Milligan and the foul's called. It's going to be a sub for Oakland's as Josie Leovold checks into the game. And Milligan off of the rebound, can't stay in bounds. And so the Pride will stay with it underneath this basket. Loughran with it on the 3-point line.
Yeah, Oakland's just playing some good D.
It's a great
it's guaranteed
look.
To happen. Yep.
Yeah. Elise Tweedy with a little bounce pass into the pocket for Shan Phillips, who comes down the lane and finishes with her right hand. And a little bit of spin to get it in on that one as she extends out to 8 points. And Loughran. Apologies, we've had a mishap on my live stats here.
The commentators cursive saying they're playing good D, so then they've got a score on them. They've been playing solid, keeping the ball out. Yeah,
really forcing Pride to get down into the end of that shot clock. It was something Newcastle did really well last week, and I mentioned it in the commentary. I know Pride fans probably weren't happy with it, but with having a young team, if you can force them into that end of the shot clock, you almost are hoping they make a bad decision. And we saw that a couple of times with the Eagles last week, but obviously managed to take care of it when it mattered most in the fourth quarter. And Pride managing to get a good look there with the shot clock winding down again. Sham Phillips again on the boards. Rona, four rebounds already in this one.
Yep, just getting after them, isn't she? It's obviously just in her that she sees the ball, she goes after it. The amount of points that must convert for her team or stop the other team from getting, that's invaluable.
Yeah, a chance at the basketball another time is invaluable for any team. And Maiafalu picking up another foul there, so she'll more than likely go to the bench, and that'll be her second of the game. Carter bringing the ball up the floor for the Wolves, kicks out to Milligan. He finds Leovold. Elise Tweedy playing great defense on Josie Leovold in the corner there, limiting her options. The ball swung out to Upris, who gets the three to go, and the Wolves will extend to a 2-point lead with just over 2 minutes to play in the first quarter.
I wonder if that's something the coach drew up in their time out there for coming down the floor.
Yeah, it's a great bit of ball movement, managing to find Upris, who was open at the top of the three. And, Oakland Wolves, known for shooting those early threes in transition. They try and drive the lanes, play a drive and kick offense in transition to try and get those open shooters. And so that'll be something Caledonia Pride will look to address. Just how hard is that, Rona, in transition when your main priority is defending the basket first, but then knowing that you have 3-4, high caliber 3-point shooters that you've then got to dart back out to once you get there.
It's a game of choice, isn't it? You've just got to decide what's your biggest threat and when, and stick with it and hope that you make the right one as a defender. Doing well at attacking the basket there, Oakland. Another rebound.
Yeah, those offensive boards for the Pride could come up costly, and so they'll need to start boxing out here in the first half. Elise Tweedy going to the right, manages to get the basket over the smaller Josie Leovold.
Great use of her length.
Milligan driving to the basket, wanted the foul, but couldn't get it, and Pride managing to come up with a defensive board that time. Milligan, hungry for trying to get the ball back, strips Rose Harvey, and a couple of bodies on the floor, and it will end up Pride possession with 52 seconds to play.
I think it's gone Oakland.
Oh, Oakland's ball, correction. I think it was Maud Ranger that confused me there as she was appealing desperately for a Pride inbounds. Carter weaving underneath the basket, and Upris trying to support her on the dive. And Daisy Porter driving, manages to get one to go. Rose Harvey brings it up over the timeline for the Pride, and Eva Kerr on the far side wing. Harvey finds a rolling Elise Tweedy, and she goes for back-to-back baskets. And so Pride really trying to abuse that matchup right now with Elise Tweedy length over Leovold.
Oh God.
I believe it's going to be on Maud Ranger. She's just trying to get her hand to everything.
It can be so tempting as a player when you see someone coming through and you can see the ball, not to stick your hands in.
Yeah, and sometimes you think you can get there and get it clean, but we all know at that point, once you put your hand in, you're just leaving yourself at the kind of arms of the referee to decide your fate. And so Maud will have her first. He tries to heave up the half-court shot, but the buzzer sounds, and we'll have a tied game as we go into the first quarter break. 18-18 Oakland Wolves against Caledonia Pride. Rona, what do you make of that first quarter of action?
I think it's been pretty frenetic, pretty end to end. I think both teams have got more to give, and I think as the game goes on, they will, settle into it. They'll probably grow in confidence, and we'll maybe just see a little bit of more of the maturity coming through. Being able to hold the ball up, making the right decisions, and few less turnovers in that sort of mid-court area going forward. But I think Pride, that Pride pressure they bring, that will be relentless throughout the game. It's going to be how do Oakland's deal with that, and then what do Pride do with that if they get those turnovers.
Yeah, definitely, and points from turnovers are fairly low right now for both teams, 2 and 4. But one stat that really jumps out for me on the box score is Oakland Wolves with 10 points second chance, and I know we kind of talked about that boxing out under the basket for the Pride. What have you kind of seen from the second chance opportunities that Oakland have obviously been getting?
I think it's one of those ones, isn't it? For me, rebounding comes down to just a pure desire and hustle to get after the ball. So I think, that's not something the Pride team lack, but it's just switching your brain to turn around and getting after that ball once it's been shot. They're so good at running the floor, but, you've got to secure that ball first, get the outlet and get going.
Yeah, definitely. The coaching side of box outs is always a difficult one. You can't coach a desire into a player, and so as you said, the desire is definitely there for Pride, but maybe just a bit too quick to jump the gun and try and get out in transition. The girls love to push the ball and try and get early looks. As we see Maud Rongier having a quick chat with the squad. She's been such a leader for this Pride outfit this year, and always at every huddle, at every opportunity, you see her gathering the girls together. And what a great attribute to have from a senior player.
Definitely. I think as well, if you see, you've had 9 players come in and play for Pride so far. You've had all 8 of the Oakland's players in, so everyone's had their chance to get on, pretty much get a feel for the game, which will bode well down the line for both teams.
So Rose Harvey gives it up to Elise Tweedy, and looks like we're going to have jump ball, Rona. Is that the call?
It looked like it, yeah.
And so possession arrow is in Oakland's Wolves' favour. Sarson gets the inbound and back to Boris. Boris driving the floor. And a good block from Sean Phillips.
She's got to keep that stat line ticking over.
Yeah, that's just 5 more blocks to go until 50. That's what she'll be thinking on the court, I'm sure.
Nice take in there by Oakland's Wolves for that basket.
Rose Harvey driving to her left. Morange coming across the top. Receives ball screen from Kerr. Rose Harvey with the deep 3. And she really got going earlier in the trophy matchup against Manchester. She came in and in the second half went 3 from 4 from behind the arc, and was really a good addition to Pride in that second half. Mm-hmm. So we know she can shoot it.
Just an offensive foul there from Oakland's. Coming up the floor. I always think those offensive fouls screen are always a tough call, when you step out, is it because you've caught them or is it because they haven't seen you? But what the ref sees obviously can look quite painful. Hence the foul. Yeah.
Sarson with the ball screen on Carter, throws it up. That one can't go. Pride have done a good job of limiting Carter here in the first half. She's only had 2 points, and she does a great job of off the ball getting open for her team, but also off those ball screens she tends to be pretty effective, but Pride managing to limit her so far. Shan Phillips trying to post up but can't get that one to go. So Sarsen brings it over the timeline for the Wolves, guarded by Rongier. And the shot no good from Rouse. Rongier will come up the other way with it. Puts up the early 3. And Sean Phillips trying to get to the rebound, but couldn't get to it that time. Looked like Maud was in almost 2 minds there on whether to put her body out and take the charge, but I think Rouse just managed to kind of maneuver around her and was going to get called for the blocking foul anyway.
Yeah, she's gone quite deep. Really liking the versatility you're seeing in taller players these days. It's not just your typical get inside, post up, but you see they're happy to get out there. The Polly Allenas, the Louises, out there and shoot. Shoot the 3, make themselves even more of a threat. Get the basket.
Yeah, and that's got to be so hard to guard because you're so focused on trying to stay in stance and not get beaten off the dribble. But then at the same time, you got to respect the shooter and have a hand up. And as you said, with the taller players, such a hard matchup because, especially if you're a smaller forward or a smaller guard, trying to guard those shooters is so difficult. Tweedy inside, but goes out to Story. Another 3-point effort from Pride, but that one doesn't go. And so 1-point game with just under 7.5 to play in the second quarter. Carter kicks it to Sarsen. Sarsen goes into Rouse. Rouse
blocked
by Elise Tweedy, yeah, but she managed to come up with it. And Sham Phillips pushing the ball now. Gets it out in front to Maud Rongier, who tries to hit Story on the back door, but can't get it. And Sarsen will put up an early 2. And we're going to have jump ball, and so Pride come up with the extra possession and a chance to go in the lead.
Good hustle on the boards there by all the players. Getting after it.
Ella Docherty bringing the ball up the floor. And Rongier puts up the mid-range but can't get it to drop. And it looks like they're trying to get Maud Rongier as the first pass down the floor for Pride and then re-screen off of the big. But just can't get anything to go as of yet from that. Carter inbounds to Rouse. Sarsen driving on Docherty, kicks out to Upris on the far side, and she gets the 3 to go.
Patient offense there, just leading you what they were doing, where they were going.
Yeah, almost looked so stagnant for a little bit, but you got to respect Carter coming off those screens down low because she can get open. And as you said, a patient offense managed to get something to go. And so timeout in this one, and it's Oakland's Wolves 25, Caledonia Pride 21 with just under 6 minutes to go. And so both benches, as you said, Rona, both teams go into their benches early. 10 points from Oakland's Wolves, on the first half, and 6 from Caledonia Pride.
Yeah, and that really helps, especially like you say, if both teams, if they get a bit of foul trouble. It's also having, you've got people coming off the bench, and if you have to go through rotations, that's absolutely fine. No weak links, I think, is what it's showing.
Yeah, and a real bright spark early in the first half for Caledonia Pride, Elise Tweedy adding 6 points of scoring. And just to give context, she's only averaging 2.4 points on the season, but comes into this one and gets 6 points early in the game. And she's really used her length well to get those 6 points on the board for Caledonia.
It's been great to see her development. We played against her last season when she was at Edinburgh Uni, and her footwork has come on really well and her finishing around the basket, and that's only going to continue to develop. She's with this Pride team, so that's great to see.
Yeah, this Pride team just stacked with young Scottish talent, as you mentioned, coming through the leagues, and it's great to see them getting better and better each week. Shot clock's winding down, and Wolves can't force up a shot that's good enough to go, and Ranger coming down the floor with it. She's guarded by Upris. Chan Phillips takes the ball screen. Chan Phillips was just unfortunate there as she came across the ball screen, and as Story went to roll, they switched out on it. Couldn't really get an open lane to drive into.
Nice driving dish, drawing the foul.
Unsure who that foul has been called on there, but it will be Louise Rouse who goes to the line. Chan Phillips pushing the ball down the floor in transition early, finds Story, can't get the basket to go. And Oakland managed to come down the other end, but no good again, and so it's off to the races for Mayala Falou. Kicks to Docherty. Story goes through the legs, tries to back down, but she's double teamed, and Ella Docherty comes up with it. Good mid-range shot, but can't get it to go.
Nice hustle for that team offensive board.
Ella Falou putting up the shot late. She looked like she might have been hit a little bit on that one, but no foul called. And Boros goes up with it. Chan Phillips with, you're right, another rebound. No surprises there. And Ella Docherty has it stripped away by Amari Carter. And with a slight hesitation, goes to the hoop.
Good straight up D there from Holly.
Go. Yeah, again, that straight up defense we talked about earlier.
I think she's sitting on 2 fouls at the moment, so she won't want to give up a third at this stage in the game. Both teams just playing a bit frantic. I think a couple of baskets settle them down again.
Yeah, this Pride team used to playing up tempo. It's something they like to do, is get out and push the ball, but not getting anything to go. And Chan Phillips with the steal. Looks to draw contact, but no foul called, and a good finish from Chan Phillips.
I like how she took it over, onto her right hand, settled herself and went up, planted her feet.
Yeah, and that's so important as a coach. You want players to get balanced off of 2 and go up strong. And as you said, Chan Phillips doing a great job of getting to 2 feet instead of the traditional right-left or left-right to go up, and manages to settle herself and get the easy 2 points. Pride really needed that 2 points as well. As you said, Rona, was getting a bit reckless with how fast both teams were pushing the ball, and a period of no scores You'd like to chalk that up to good defense on both ends, but forcing early shots and maybe not getting the best looks from both sides.
It's that catch-22, isn't it? You want to play up tempo, you want to play intense, but then sometimes you have to shave off a little bit of, that finesse at the end. But they've come up with the steal, the score. I'm sure that will settle them down again. Wolves handling the pressure well as well, though. Coming up that floor, like you say, Mari seems quite calm with it. Confident in their abilities. Just what you need in your guard.
Yeah, definitely. And Wolves talked that one through, and we'll see if they've drawn anything up off the back of that. Carter playing cat and mouse off of the off-ball screen, puts up a 3, and no good. Shan Phillips with her 8th rebound of the night. Can't get the 2 to go. Great pass from Rose Harvey, finds Phillips under the basket, but again, can't get the shot to fall.
Dish out for 3. Is that another board there for Shan?
Yeah. She'll already move up to 9. Setting up the double-double nicely again. And Rouse with the easy 2. Rose handling the ball now for the Pride. She gives it up and looks to get it back. Good drive from Shan, and she gets a tough 2 to go. Sandwich between 2 defenders, but so Carter coming off the ball screen. Falou tries to get to the basket. Just a bump. Yeah, a blocking foul as she goes to the hoop, and Maëla Falou pleading her innocence to the near side referee.
I think that'll put her on to 3, which is probably not where she wants to be in the second quarter.
Yeah, she sat out a lot of the third last week with foul trouble, and so be an element of frustration from the young guard having to sit yet again for fouls. Mari Carter gets the first one to go. And she goes 2 for 2. And so the Wolves will extend their lead to 5 with just under 2 minutes to play in the second quarter. Rose Harvey bringing the ball up for the Pride. Gives it up to Pollyanna. Shan Phillips doing a great job on all ball defense, but she's going to get called for the foul. A majority of Shan's fouls last week came from picking it up in the open floor, trying to, almost that hunger for the ball that we all know she has, just causing frustration and a foul.
That fine line between hustle on their face and just sitting off a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Upris with the 3. And Pollyanna Story looking to try and get it into Kerr. It's guarded by Upris. Story looks to go to the Euro step, but is called for the offensive foul, and a little bit of frustration from Pollyanna there.
I think Oakland's did a good job there of, coming across and helping. They saw she was going to attack, and then drawing that contact to cause her the foul.
Pollyanna doing a great job on the defensive end, though. She just can't kind of get it to go on the offensive side, and she's got a tough matchup and can't help but think that'll be tiring her out a little bit for the offensive output.
Yeah.
She'll sit for a little bit for this Pride team as Elise Tweedy has the ball. Tries to find Eva Kerr. And it's tipped out of bounds by Wolves. Elise Tweedy driving to her right. Yeah, Elise Tweedy again. A great offensive output from her in this first half. She's really worked that mismatch well for the Pride offense. And Upris gets another one to go. She just hit one from there. Only one offense a go, and Pride will have to get out to that and get a hand up. Try and knock her out of her groove. Tweedy with the mismatch again.
Upris is sitting on 60% from the 3-point line, 3 from 5. That's going to be something we're going to have to think about when out their guard, and she can knock it down.
Yep, and Upris, the Estonian international who can do both. You know, she can shoot it from outside, and as we mentioned earlier, the ability to shoot it as a taller forward, also can take it to the basket as well. It's kind of that, as we mentioned, what do you live by, what do you die by? Do you stop the 3-point shot, but then she might have a drive? I think at this point with that 60% shooting, I don't know about you, Rona, but I'd probably be trying to force her to take it to the basket a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I mean, firstly, if I ever shot 60% in a game, I think I would retire. If I managed that for the 3-point line. And yeah, definitely, I think you've just got to go out and play hard in her face and ask her, challenge her to try and go past you, and hope your teammates are behind you to step across and help. If you're playing up that high on her. But as you were saying, Elise having a great game at the offensive end, leading Pride's all scorers with 8. Which just shows, they've got plenty of options within the team. That maybe if it's not happening for somebody on the day, they've got others that are going to step up and score those points.
Rose Harvey puts up the 3, can't get it to go, and it's tied up. And so that will stop the first half of action as we go into halftime. Pride trailing Oakland's Wolves by 11 points, 38-27 in this one. And so, Rona, as we mentioned at the top of the show, you're part of the female strategy group, and obviously International Women's in Sport Day is coming up in a short while. What have you got planned on the back of that?
So International Women's Day is obviously celebrated throughout the world, and it's sport, it's careers, it's everything to do with women, and what we've been looking at in the group that Amy from Basketball Scotland has been pushing with us is the social media pledges that we're going to be looking to do, and that's with the hashtag Choose to Challenge. And it's basically a photo of yourself with your hand up that you're going to high five someone, and it's just you putting out what you're going to choose to challenge within sport or within the workplace to try and push forward females. And also there's a hashtag of IWD 2021. So I think people, males, females, young, old, involved in basketball, dabble in basketball, it's great for everybody to get involved in that and really push forward. As we can see with the WBBL, it's been running not as long, as a BBL, but it's great that we've got this platform now and we can push it forward. And we're really trying to, still playing catch up a little bit on the men's side, but trying to drive forward women, especially in sport, and that's where a lot of my passion lies.
Yeah, no, and obviously someone like yourself who's played at the top of the game, having played professionally, having played for Scotland, just how important is it for kind of the young girls within, our sport here in the country to see people like you, role models like you, have gone and played at a high level, but also this Pride outfit who are, filled with talent from 16, 17 years old from Scotland. How important that is for kind of driving forward the program in the future and the sport here in this country?
Yeah, I think it's absolutely massive. I mean, I know when I was growing up, which wasn't too many decades ago, you kind of got to under 18s, and then if you made a leap into the senior National League, that was great. The odd person would maybe go stateside, whereas now, you see it on Hoops Fix Women. They're great at pushing it, and there's so many platforms out there pushing, where female players are in the States now, where they are down south. There's more academy programs popping up. You've got Pride. I mean, these girls are great role models for what you can do. You can combine, your studies with your playing, but still play at a really good level. That just wasn't an option too long ago. So I think as much as we can build and grow on this would be wonderful. And I think with the female strategy group, we look at running basketball, we have wheelchair basketball is represented, we have officials, we have coaches, we have people who are just back into basketball, and I think that just shows how big and how popular the sport is, even if it's not necessarily in the mainstream media. And it's just us getting ourselves out there as females and pushing ourselves forward. Get more coaches in the gig and get more table officials, get more younger players coming through the setup, and I think that can only help to grow and sort of reinforce what it is we're doing at the moment. But female strategy group, something that I've really enjoyed doing. Great to come together with other like-minded people who from Inverness, from the Central Belt, East, West, all over, hearing what other people are getting up to, whether it's back to basketball sessions, whether it's looking at setting up a female only wheelchair basketball league, and really trying to look at these things, drive them forward, see how we can overcome challenges, and find solutions for them, or take on board, other suggestions, or look at just how we can grow the game as a group.
Yeah, no, amazing, and obviously a massive effort from the team at the female strategy group to get and more players and more coaches playing, and I think that at the end of the day is really what it's all about, right? Is can we get more females playing the game and more females enjoying coaching? So.
No, definitely. And I think, with your experience having been stateside, what did you find the differences, being stateside, working with a programme with, well, actually my former under-18s coach, Donna Finney, what did you find the difference coming out of being up at RGU Aberdeen and then going across and working in an NCAA programme?
Yeah, I think, obviously, yeah, I think for me, obviously, I had the joy of working with a truly inspirational female staff. I was like the little brother on that staff, and they'll probably joke about that as well. But Lauren Tippett, Precious Ivy, and Becca Allison, the assistants, as well as you mentioned, Donna Finney, the head coach there, all truly like leaders in their own right. Obviously Becca, Scottish player who went over and played at Old Dominion and then is now coaching in NCAA Division 1. Is just amazing, and those people are really leaders and drive ambition and people forward, and our players, I know, looked up to them as their coaches. And with Becca and Lauren and Precious, who had also played NCAA, and so did Donna, I think it's having that direct correlation of I'm playing right now, I'm living it right now, but then being able to look at your coaches and say, okay, they've done this and look what they've gone on to do with the game. And I know we kind of chatted earlier around, it's amazing where a little brown ball can take you. But I think that's the biggest thing is, girls being able to see other female athletes and female coaches and being able to see themselves progressing towards that next level, whether they want to coach, officiate, table, I think it was tremendous, and obviously a lot to thank Donna and her staff for my time there. It was phenomenal. But obviously now back at RGU and coaching both the men's and the women's team, and it's no secret that the women's team are an absolute joy to coach up there. They're just a great bunch of girls. So looking forward to that challenge whenever basketball returns.
Yeah, back to swimming pool changing rooms, good old Scottish basketball.
Yeah, exactly.
No name blocker rooms over here, but I see it's character building.
Yeah.
But no, and Donna Finney, who we've mentioned, she's been quite a great sort of product of Scotland, are probably, you know, one of the best. Was she the first ever European coach to go to NCAA? And to me, that's a massive inspiration, because I just thought, well, you play, and then once you stop playing, you maybe do a bit of coaching, but that's about it. But now, you know, I've been invited on here for commentary, which is just awesome, and something I could never have imagined doing even a couple of years ago. And you know, you've got the statisticians, we've got so many more aspects to it now, which is great to see. And just lets you see, just as even as a female, how far you can take the sport.
Yeah, definitely. And as the slides come up there, let's not forget our setup crew today, Aaron, Hetty and Felicia as well. Amazing job to keep all the players and staff safe during these difficult times. It's a pleasure to be able to bring basketball, as kind of Rona said, where we have the pleasure of bringing it to you from the Crag Centre. And thank you to our sponsors too. Without all this, it wouldn't be possible. But Rona, what do you think the highlights are going to be then for this Pride team to try and get this win over the line here today in the second half? I'll say an 11-point deficit, which will be key to kind of chop down early.
I think it's going to be key, you know, getting out on that 3-point shot. I think Carter, she's drawn in a lot of attention, so then it's just making sure, you know, we've still got the other players covered. And then for Oakland's at the other side, you know, what they're doing is obviously working at the moment, so I'm sure we'll stick with that at the moment. You know, they're handling the pressure, bringing the ball up well. But, you know, fitness, you can be the fittest player in the world, but that's always going to come into it as you get down the line and it gets tight. So I think we're in for a good second half, and I'm very much looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely. And as I'm scanning the box score there, you know, points contained 16-18, so really close, but it's really still that second chance points for Oakland Wolves. They're 15 second chance points, Caledonia Pride 2. And although we know that Sham Phillips has been amazing on the boards yet again here tonight with 9 boards, just the team effort defensively, I think there was a little upping towards the end of the second quarter, managed to get some good team box outs. But that's something they'll need to address early in the third quarter to try and cut down this Oakland goal lead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, most definitely. The matchups have been interesting, they've been enjoyable to watch as well. So long may that continue into that second half.
Yeah, definitely. Both teams shooting a 60% from the free throw line. But it's Oakland Wolves who are shooting 4 from 11, 36% from behind the arc. And we talked at the top of the show, it's so difficult because they look to hit those threes early in transition as you're getting back. And your main priority as a player is always try and defend the basket. You don't want to give up easy twos. But then in the same breath, you then got to sprint out to the arc and close out some fantastic shooters. Rona, you highlighted Greta Upris. She's been shooting a phenomenal 60% from behind the arc. Do you think that's a key matchup for the Pride in this third quarter?
I think it will be, and if I have my player hat on, I go, well, you know, are you capable of keeping that up? And as a player, sometimes you go, well, hopefully they're going to have to miss at some point. You just hope it's during this game and maybe a little bit earlier on, and she'll get out a rhythm. Maybe halftime will have helped that as well. Sort of a bigger break out of the game. So it'll be interesting to see if she can get back into it in the second half. But usually, you know, players WBBL of this calibre, simple things like half times and having to take a break in between, that doesn't tend to affect the rhythm. So no, that should be interesting to see. I do think it will be something they'll maybe talk a little bit more about. They might put a little bit more height on her to try and force her out of her rhythm when she's shooting. So it'll be interesting to see what they do there.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a key matchup for the Pride as they go into the second half. And you just hope that Pollyanna Story can get going. She's done a great job defensively. You know, we talked about her staying in stance, but obviously she has picked up those fouls early on, and so she sat for the remainder of the first half. She's on 3 fouls, so she'll probably sit in the beginning, but you hope that when she comes back in, she's only had 2 points in this outing, and Pollyanna is usually a big part of this Pride offense, and so she'll look to have an impact when she makes her return from the bench.
Yeah.
And so the 5 on the floor for your Pride are going to be Maud Ranger, Shan Phillips, Rose Harvey, Elise Tweedy, and Eva Kerr. Apologies, the live stats hasn't updated, so it will be Maud Ranger, Shan Phillips, Ella Docherty, and Mayella Falou, joined with Pollyanna Story.
Quick 2 there from Oakland.
I'm glad you caught it as I was fumbling with my live stats and trying to scan the court for who was on. Thank you for that, Rona. Great step through move from Shan Phillips, and she gets the 2 to drop. And do you think Pride will look to play through her early? She's been playing well, just been unlucky with some of the shots not falling.
Yeah, I think she's one of those players. She'll get the basket. She'll convert out of nothing at times.
Ella Falou looking out in front to Shan Phillips, kicks the Story for the 3 and gets the friendly roll.
There's that score you were talking about.
Yeah, we just hope she finds her rhythm now off the back of that one. Mayella Falou bringing the ball up again for the Pride. She did a great job in the first half of just slowing down the tempo when they did have, when the Wolves were back in their 5 and set in defense. She did a great job of slowing it down and trying to get a good look.
There's that versatility, shot the 3, scored it on the last play, down this play, posting up inside.
Carter kicks to Sarson. And felt like she was bumped on the drive, but no call, and it's going to be Pride ball coming back the other way. Yeah, Rona, Pollyanna Story does a great job of, as we said, you have to respect the shooter. She can pull the 3, but also using her height down low as Ella Docherty drives to the basket and gets 2 floater to go. Amari Carter has been awful quiet in this one. I don't know what you make of her performance.
I think it's one of those ones that you expect big things of her, but sometimes in a game like this, you've just got to come out, try not to turn the ball over, find your teammates. She might not light up the stat sheet as such, but she's still doing so much good work. You do know she's still on court. It's just not necessarily in points and rebounds that we're seeing.
As she comes up with a rebound there. But Sarson can't get the 2 to go. Yeah, she's a great safe pair of hands and really gives the ball up early in transition to the other guards. There's obviously an element of trust there in the other guards. And, just how valuable is that to a team to know your top scorer is willing to give the ball up that early in your offense?
I think it just builds confidence in the whole team, doesn't it, when that trust is there. And they'll kick it out. You want to run for your guards because they're going to give it up. I've always been very fortunate with the guards I've played with. That they will give the ball up if you run for them. They reward you with that. Because being a guard can be a thankless task at times.
Yeah, definitely. And she's so good at them popping up on the other side. If someone switches off in the help. And can hit those big shots.
She's keeping them busy. That's the thing. She might not be outscoring, but she's keeping them busy. She's pulling the players away from the basket. She's keeping attention. She's not just sitting by her spot and hoping for the best. Involved in picking and setting screens.
Shan Phillips with another block there. As
nice hustle.
There's a couple of bodies on the floor. Pollyanna Story hustles back to try and get the stop, but she's going to be called for a foul.
Called.
And
good turnover and attack of the basket.
Yeah. And so 10 points as Louise Rouse extends to over 70% from the line. Shan Phillips coming up with a board once again, kicks it out to Ranger and gets the shot to go. Ranger came up big when they needed her last week, and so she'll look to do the same, cut down this lead for the Pride.
That was off the back of Elise, backing down her player, getting the shot off, straight off the bench. Showing that impact she's had at the offensive end today. Hopefully nothing too serious.
Yep. I believe that's Dorka Boris on the floor there. She looked like she got hurt as she was going to the basket.
Not something you ever want to see in a game. Someone down and staying down, but she looks like she's back up.
Looks like her wrist. She's kind of shaking it off there, a sore one. Hopefully she's fine to carry on in this one. As you said, not something you want to see anyone fall hard on the floor as Ranger. Falou looking to feed Elise Tweedy, but was predicted from Wolves, and Boris manages to pick it off.
Then just reaching in. I think maybe a bit of frustration just trying to get to the ball and committing the foul.
Wolves go into that 1-4 set. Great job from Shan Phillips, doubling over the top of the screen there.
Great rebound in there.
Yeah.
Got a good shot.
And Maud Ranger comes up with a final rebound to secure the offense for Pride. And Ella Docherty with it in the corner. Kicks out to Myella Falou as she looks to control the floor from the point. Falou screened from Tweedy.
Reaching in over the back with that one.
Yeah, that's back-to-back reach-in fouls from Elise Tweedy, and Pride will really have to watch with, I would say, Pollyanna Story sitting out at present with 4 fouls, Myella Falou with 3 fouls. Don't want to pick up many more than that.
I caught a bit of the London Lions, Nottingham Wildcats game just before this, and they had Jasmine Joyner, who's one of their best players, sit on 4 fouls, I think, from the second quarter or early in the third. So she saw out the game, so it's always possible.
Yeah. And on that, we'll bring you an update from the other game going on just now. Essex Rebels leading Durham 46-41. And there's just a minute extra in that one. Same tip time. Myella Falou kicks to Sian Phillips. It looks like Sophie Leslie is in the game for the first time today. Shot goes up from Upris. And as we mentioned at the half, Pride have done a good job of keeping her quiet coming into this third quarter. She obviously had a great first half of shooting. Yeah. Sian Phillips coming up with a big three-pointer there. Cuts this lead down into single digits. And with 3.5 left in the third quarter, Pride are down by 7. Boris looks to drive on Falou, but kicks out to Leovold. Sophie Leslie does a great job of staying down in her stance. Upris tried to shot fake and get her up out of it, but a great job defensively by the smaller guard to force her to the end of the shot clock. And so the 5 on the floor right now are Maud Ranger, Myella Falou, Eva Kerr, and Sophie Leslie. As Sophie Leslie puts up the 3 and gets it to go.
Back to back.
And so timeout called to Wolves.
You imagine their coach be taking them in, give them a breather, a couple of moments to compose themselves, refocused, and then back out.
Yeah, I think there's some raised voices from down that side of the court.
I think he's just shouting, "You're doing really well," really loudly.
Yeah. I think you're right there. And they'll look to address back-to-back threes from Sian Phillips and Sophie Leslie, who have cut this lead back down to 4. And meanwhile, from the other end, the Pride are chatting things over. They'll look to continue to push the ball. They're managing to push the ball, but when the defense is set, take their time, find the open shooter, and obviously knocking down those back-to-back threes to bring it back to 4 points.
That'll also help them, spread the floor like Oakland's had done, because they were knocking down the threes. Once you're able to spread the floor like that, it gives you more space inside.
Yeah, definitely. And with Sophie Leslie hitting that 3 now, there's not a Pride player on the floor who hasn't put a point on the board. So also Oakland's have got to respect that,
So you think Oakland's will now look to attack the basket that Pride are into the penalty?
Yeah, I mean, both teams shooting great from free throw line, so I think they'll look to drive and get the foul calls now and try and stretch this lead out. I wouldn't be surprised if, with Sian Phillips picking up that foul there, they'll probably look to go to her because she looks to get the 2 on the other end. Because if they can get her in foul trouble, that would be a big bonus for the Wolves, as she's been commanding for Pride today. But a foul down the other end, and we'll have a baseline out of bounds. Rongier to the step back, but it's waved off as a long 2. And cuts the lead in half again. I don't know what the call is there, but there was a slight apprehension whether it was going to be a foul call. And so baseline out of bounds to Oakland. And a great pass from Daisy Porter, finds a cutting Boros, and she can't get the shot to go as she's fouled. And so she'll go to the line.
Just get to the line. We're doing a good job of that, front cutting and getting through the key and coming back out. Very active.
And so Boros makes 1 of 2. And Wolves go up by 4 with just under 2 minutes to play in this third quarter. Myla Falou takes the ball screen from Kerr against the center. She does a great job at attacking Upris's feet there. Myla Falou being able to move a little bit quicker than her and take her to the basket.
Carter responds pretty much with the same at the other end.
Apologies, the drive from Falou was not on Upris, it was on Rouse. Wearing similar numbers. It's bumping me again. But Rongier driving to the basket, can't make it. So Wolves will come back the other way. Sham Phillips with another block. And so with that block, Sham Phillips will need just 3 more to have 50 in her Pride career. "50 blocks in just, 47 blocks in just 65 games, Rona."
It's a pretty good going, isn't it? It's going to make you second guess yourself going to the hoop if you've got her marking you.
Yeah, definitely.
There's another one of those defensive calls on the screen. I think on Eva Kerr.
Rongier guarding Carter as she's commanding the floor. Looks to clear out and she'll go 1-on-1 against Rongier, puts up the 3, can't get it to go. Kerr with the rebound and Sham Phillips looks to push the floor now. But the Wolves are back, but Sham Phillips finds Rongier, can't get the 3 to go, just spins out. Oh. I thought she got a hand to that, but the referees will have a better view than we do. And there'll be a foul on Sham Phillips.
It's one of those 50-50s. You go for it and you see what happens.
And so Ella Docherty will check back into the game for the Pride. Carter makes her first. And makes her second. And so the lead will now be at 6 as Myla Falou will look to get something off before the end of the buzzer, and Sham Phillips is blocked under the basket by Amara Carter, and that will end the third quarter 52-46. And so we'll take a short break. in this one and get back to you with the fourth quarter of action. And so going into the fourth quarter here, Rona, the Caledonia Pride managing to get the 11-point lead at the half cut down to 6. And will put themselves in a great position to try and get back at that lead and get a win here in the fourth quarter. And so Carter brings the ball up, finds Rouse. Carter going to the basket on Maud Rangier, and she makes the easy 2. And Mari Carter has kind of come alive a little bit towards the end of that third quarter and into this fourth.
Still just sitting, I think, on 1 turnover, you know, considering the pressure she's under. It's good going.
Yeah, she's done a great job of controlling the floor for Wolves. And she looks to fall away, jump shot, but can't get it to go. She seems to have almost sprung into action off the back of that chase down block she had on Shan Phillips as we ended the third quarter. And she's looking to be a bit more involved in the offense now.
She's feeling it. Also got, you know, experience. She'll know when to bide her time and when to attack, and you know when her team needs her to step up or when to find her teammates.
Mela Falou finds Rangier, who can't get the follow away to go, but Shan Phillips comes up with back-to-back rebounds off of her own attempt. And Shan Phillips once again with the rebound and gets the shot to go underneath. So Shan Phillips will extend out to 14 points on the night.
She's still not had a rest either. She's played every minute of the game so far.
Carter is really beginning to feel it in this fourth quarter. So Pride will have to look to stop her. Shan Phillips driving, good straight up defense from Boros, but the kick to Kerr, no good. And timeout. Pride. Do you think we'll see something drawn up here then to get a 2 and cut that lead into single digits?
I think Donnie will definitely have something up his sleeve, you know, to come out, get another score, and then a very clear plan, you know, to execute back in defense to hopefully get the stop, get the board or whatever, and then get back down the other end for another.
And you can't help but think they'll be talking about Mari Carter in this timeout and how they're going to try and stop her.
yeah, the fourth quarter is not really when you want your opposition to start to feel comfortable and start to score freely.
Yeah, definitely. And Amari Carter, once again, as I mentioned earlier, hasn't had a game in single digits today. She was on 6 points just moments ago, and feel like I've just blinked and she's on 14 here in the fourth quarter.
She obviously heard you.
Yeah. She didn't want that stat to fall away and was ready to turn it on for the fourth quarter. And Pride will go back to their triangle end line as they get it into Rongier. Comes up with a steal. And jump ball. Going to stay with Pride. And 10 on the shot clock. Sorry, 11 on the shot clock. Myella Falou guarded by Rouse. Takes it to the basket once again. It's a couple of times where Rouse has been guarding Falou at the top of the arc that she's been able to drive on her and get to the basket. Really utilize her speed against the taller Rouse.
And just even identifying that mismatch to exploit it as well.
Yeah, and it's come in a couple of different ways. It came off a ball screen earlier, but there it was just a switch in the way that Cali Pride had rotated the ball, and she ends up guarding Falou. And as you said, it does take a talent to identify that mismatch and then utilize it, of course, as well. Carter comes up with a steal and goes coast to coast with it. Ella Docherty running the point for Pride. Tries to bounce pass it into Kerr. Yeah. Almost thought a dump over the top and she might have been able to find the diving Eva Kerr for an easy two, but she tries to thread the needle and Oakland Wolves will come the other way. Foul on Kerr by the looks of things, Rona.
I think just brought her arms over a little. She tried to stop.
It's so difficult, isn't it, when you're down there in the post and you're trying to play straight up, but the minute you see, I mean, it's human nature, isn't it? As soon as you see the ball, there's just that temptation to drop your arms and try and go for the ball.
Because when it comes off, it's just the best, and then when it doesn't, you're like,
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to sum it up.
Yeah.
You know yourself. There's nobody to blame.
And so Rose Harvey brings it over the timeline, finds Falou. And Rongier attacking to the basket. Yeah. Did a great job there, Rongier, of a couple of dribble moves and then attacking in straight lines. I'd say it to all my players, it's my pet hate when players dance around with the ball, but Rongier just limits herself to a couple of moves and takes it straight to the basket. And it's that first step that really gets her there, that quickness off the first step. And so an 8-point lead with just 6 minutes to go. Mari Carter kicks out to Boris. And she gets the shot to fall.
Carter did a good job of, drawing the attention inside and then finding a player on the wing.
That's an offensive foul. Yeah, Myella Falou taking the charge, puts her body on the line, and you just hope that might be a kind of boost for this Pride team to try and cut down that 10-point lead. Rongier on the wing. Finds Harvey at the top. Pollyanna's tried to find a cutting Shan Phillips there.
I think just too many bodies in the way.
Yeah, I almost thought she had the matchup there that she would have liked, but she decides to dish off to Shan Phillips. Polly again playing great defense. Switches out on the handoff. And Falou in the passing lanes does a great job of coming up with it. Can't get the 2 to go, but Rongier saves it. Rose Harvey gets her feet set for the 3. And it's going to be out of bounds. Oakland's ball after Rongier stood on the end line.
Just feel like Amaela's come alive in this quarter. You know, she took the charge, she then got the steal, she had a score not long before those. She's really stepping up in this fourth.
Yep, and things like taking a charge, they really are added value to a team. You know, it might show 1 on the stat sheet, but it means a lot more to a team. You know, you get that extra possession, and really, you know, we saw the bench come alive when she did take that charge. Really builds the hype in this fourth quarter.
Carter again, you know, getting herself to the basket, down the lane. Great finish. I think that's her leading all scorers now, isn't it?
And just like that, she's set it on fire in the fourth quarter. She came into this one with just 6 points and now extends to 18.
Good of Oakland's, you know, not to force inside just because there's a mismatch.
Kicks out to Carter, who's open on the 3, but Rose Harvey comes up with a rebound on the miss. And Myella Falou looks to float a pass into Pollyanna Story, and Pollyanna asking her to put a bit more on it, as there's going to be a timeout on the floor. And so, International Women's Day coming up. That's the 8th of March, Rona, is that correct?
Sure is, week tomorrow. So
Tomorrow.
It'll be great to see what's going on social media. Obviously, you can't do as much because not even social distancing, but especially up here, being in lockdown. So, you know, get yourself online, get involved, have a read up on it. I was having a look around the website and there's some good stuff going on and some great resources. You know, any teachers out there or youth group leaders or clubs that want to put it out there in their social media channels or talk to their players about it, I would highly recommend getting on there and having a look around.
So no change to the 5 on the floor for the Pride. Pollyanna Story, Rose Harvey, Maud Rongier, Myella Falou and Shan Phillips.
You'll be wanting to get a score here and then get another score.
Yeah, definitely. Those 3 subs for the travelling Oakland's Wolves making plenty of noise to try and G up the defense in this last little while.
Yeah, you can see Oakland's they're well drilled together. You know, they're playing well for each other. They're hustling for each other. It's great to see.
Pollyanna uses her size over Murray Carter to get the finish. And that brings it back to within 10. Pollyanna Story trying to put pressure as Milligan picks up her dribble. Milligan sets the screen for Moros. And Myella Falou again comes up with it. Finds Rose Harvey in transition and manages to get the easy 2. And so 8 points in this one with just over 3 minutes to play. Pride have been here before. They were in a close game last week. And Shan Phillips with another block as Upris was driving to the basket.
Smart play by Upris there. You know, she knew she was on the baseline. She didn't have anywhere to go after that block, and she just played it off Shan's feet. You know, again, it's just smart play there from the player.
Great bit of play to come up with the extra possession from the Wolves veteran. And so Rongier with it on the wing. As Harvey feeds it into Pollyanna Story. Just come off of a basket moments ago. Again, Story was looking for the roll on Mari Carter. She likes that mismatch, having just scored on her in play previous. Story guarding Milligan.
Tough
Mari
shot.
Carter with the turnaround jump shot over Maud Rangier.
As a defender, you think, well, could have done much more, and someone's able to score.
Yeah. Good offense, just trumping good defense on that occasion.
Nice double out there by the Oaklands, just above the 3-point, but unfortunately called for the foul.
Shan Phillips with the step through off the sideline, out of bounds, gets it to go. I think it's just back and forth right now with under 2 minutes to play. Pride need to come up with a couple of stops and try and get this lead back to within 4 or 5. Maud Rangier does a great job of switching out as Upris was driving to the basket, but called for the foul as she was trying to get a hand on the ball. And so timeout called.
Big timeout. You know, this is definitely into the business end of the game. Got to put it out there.
Yeah, a minute 33 and maybe even an opportunity to freeze the shooter.
You can see though in Oakland's body language, they look confident, you know.
Yeah, since coming out in the fourth quarter, and I think that confidence probably comes from the likes of Mari Carter, who's just really gone off in this fourth quarter now with 20 points and 6 rebounds. And that'll really have given the rest of the Wolves bench and team a lift in this tight fourth quarter.
Interesting. I think Pride are just sitting on the one foul, aren't they? So, you know, if they get to the point they need to foul to stop, they've got a few more to give to get into that penalty zone.
Yep, and can't help but think that foul from Maud Rangier there was a good one. She tried to go for the ball, but then called for the foul, and that'll obviously feed into that need to foul to stop the clock. And Upris makes her first.
And
makes the second as well. Yeah. Myella Falou
great
just
hand.
Yeah. Hand from Carter, and she goes down the other end, finds Milligan cutting through the paint for the easy 2. As Myella Falou brings it back the other way. Myella Falou screaming for the ball there. She wants it back, having just turned it over. That's a great thing to see. Confidence from the young guard. And so another jump ball, and it will be Wolves possession this time. A minute left in this one, and the Wolves have extended out to 12 points. I think there's some disagreements from the Pride camp on that foul call, but a foul called nonetheless, and Lauren Milligan will go to the line, English guard for the Wolves.
You know, we kind of mentioned the people that are scoring and rebounding a lot, but both teams, and then this Oakland Wolves teams, you know, the hustle and just how they've all contributed as a team has been great. You know, only 8 players, long journey, but they've come up here and obviously stuck to their game plan.
Yep, and for them as well, the chance to put a first win on the board in WBBL Championship action. So that would put them ahead of Durham. Shan Phillips driving to the left is fouled.
That's where I think Shan, you know, can be so good. She can just create out of what you think is nothing. You know, there she is again, getting to the hoop, drawing the foul. Another chance for 2.
And a chance at 2 with the clock stopped, which in a game like this, with not a lot of time left, is invaluable for this Pride team. And so back to 12 with 40 seconds to play. Aliana Story putting some pressure on the Wolves guards. Up wrist with 3-pointer. Yeah, can't get it to go this time though. Shan Phillips finds Rose Harvey under the basket, can't get it to go, but she makes the turnaround herself. Shan Phillips now extending to 22 points and 16 rebounds. And that will be the end of action here. 72-62 to the Oakland's Wolves over Caledonia Pride. Rona, it's been a pleasure having you on with us today.
Thanks for having me. It's been great.
Not at all. And next in action for the Pride at home will be on Saturday, the 13th of March, against Essex Rebels. Essex, who had a 74-64 win over Durham today, and the Pride will take them on at 3 p.m. on Saturday, the 13th of March. So make sure you're there with us, and we look forward to welcoming you back to the Cragg Centre for more WBBL action.